Welcome to this explainer. Have you ever noticed how your brain sometimes feels exactly like a smartphone with way too many apps open? It starts lagging, it stalls out on simple tasks, and eventually it just kind of crashes. Well, today, we're going to treat your brain exactly like what it is, a biological supercomputer. And just like any supercomputer, if you want absolute peak performance, you need three things. You need hardware upgrades, a meticulously clean operating environment, and some seriously powerful new productivity software. Let's dive into the fascinating science of how to optimize all three, so you can finally unlock your mind's true potential.
Okay, let's kick things off by talking about the working memory inside your head. Think of this exactly like your computer's RAM. Your brain only has so much active processing power to give before it starts buckling under the weight of heavy programs. When you sit down to work, do you ever feel like your processing speed is instantly sliced in half? Well, research shows that your physical and digital surroundings might be quietly, relentlessly siphoning off your limited cognitive resources before you even tackle your very first task.
And the physiological difference between a chaotic environment and an optimized mind is immediate, and it's totally measurable. A messy desk isn't just an eyesore, guys. Your visual cortex is practically sweating just trying to filter out last week's coffee cups and scattered sticky notes. Studies show this subconscious background processing literally slows your task completion down by 10%. On the flip side, people working in organized spaces see a massive 27% drop in stress hormones. When your brain doesn't have to work overtime to ignore the mess, you instantly get that lost processing speed back.
So, here is our roadmap today to upgrade your brain from the inside out. First, fueling your brain. Second, optimizing your environment. Third, mastering your time. And finally, putting it all together in the ultimate productivity stack.
Let's start with Section 1, fueling your brain and upgrading that biological hardware.
Did you know you can actively grow your brain's hardware? Enter BDNF, or brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Whenever you exercise and get the right nutrients, your body triggers the release of BDNF. Think of it quite literally like miracle fertilizer for your brain. It strengthens your existing neural pathways and helps grow brand new ones. According to researchers at the Gatorade Sports Science Institute, this is so powerful it can even reverse age-related volume loss in the hippocampus by 1 to 2 years. You're fundamentally building a younger, stronger brain.
Our brains react to fuel in some pretty wild ways. For instance, studies show that simply feeding kids breakfast functionally enhances the specific neural networks they need for complex math, at least compared to when they skip a meal. Or check this out. Tyrosine supplementation has been shown to effectively prevent stress-related cognitive declines when you're working in intense heat. But my absolute favorite hack? Just rinsing your mouth with a carbohydrate solution. Seriously, without even swallowing it. It sends direct neural signals from receptors in your mouth straight to your brain, tricking your system into delaying fatigue and instantly boosting performance. No way, right?
Now, another profound hardware upgrade involves something called 40 Hz frequency therapy. Basically, think of this as a metronome for your brain. By using external sound like binaural beats or specific light therapy, you can actively align your brain's internal rhythms. This 40 Hz frequency pulls all your scattered, chaotic brain waves into a tight, highly organized, super-fast gamma wave rhythm. And that gamma state, it just happens to be the absolute biological sweet spot for improving your memory, speeding up your processing time, and locking in your attention.
The clinical implications of this are honestly mind-blowing. While human trials are still ongoing, incredible animal studies have shown that exposing mice to 40 Hz stimulation successfully cleared 50% of the toxic amyloid beta plaques associated with Alzheimer's disease. Think about that for a second. Researchers are using mere sound and light to trigger the brain's own immune cells to literally wake up, clean house, and eat toxic plaques. It is an astounding look into the future of cognitive longevity.
All right, now that our hardware is humming, let's move to Section 2, optimizing your environment by clearing out the physical and digital clutter.
There are two distinct types of clutter attacking your brain right now. Physical clutter literally overwhelms your visual cortex, and it creates this constant low-level fight or flight response because your brain thinks there is unfinished business everywhere it looks. But digital clutter, it's arguably worse. A messy desktop or thousands of unread emails act exactly like invisible open apps, completely draining your battery. It constantly clogs your working memory, and unlike a messy physical desk that you can just walk away from at the end of the day, your digital mess follows you everywhere you go.
And look, decluttering your workspace isn't just about aesthetics or satisfying some urge to be a neat freak. It's a massive performance multiplier. Research indicates that removing visual distractions and giving every single item a specific home can boost your productivity by a massive 77%. You're instantly reclaiming all of that wasted background processing power.
But hey, visual clutter is not the only invisible drain on your mind. Have you ever tried to write a really important email while someone is talking loudly on the phone right next to you? It's the worst. Poor office acoustics and constant background noise force your brain to work infinitely harder, mostly because human biology views unexpected noise as a potential threat. That leads to severe cognitive overload and intense mental fatigue. The best fix? Take control of your soundscape with sound absorption panels to kill echoes, or use low-level sound masking systems to drown out those distracting conversations.
Dr. Joseph Kandel frames the stakes of this perfectly. When your environment is chaotic, your brain subconsciously alerts you that there's unresolved work. That triggers the release of the stress hormone cortisol, keeping you in this low-grade state of panic. And as Dr. Kandel notes, triggering cortisol actively acts as a poison to your nervous system. It completely blocks your memory, scatters your focus, and absolutely destroys your attention span.
So with a clean environment, we are ready to install the software. Let's hit Section 3, Mastering Your Time.
If you want to stop wasting your mental energy, you need to ruthlessly filter your tasks through the famous Eisenhower matrix. It's wonderfully simple, just 4 quadrants. If a task is urgent and important, boom, you do it immediately. If it's important but not urgent, you schedule it for later. If it's urgent but not important, like answering some random, non-critical Slack message, you delegate it. And if it's neither urgent nor important, you literally just delete it entirely.
Once you know exactly what is important, you need a flawless system to actually execute it. For tasks requiring deep concentration, you've got to try the Pomodoro technique. You work in highly focused 25-minute bursts of effort where you completely block out all distractions, and then you follow it up with a mandatory 5-minute break. Why 25 minutes? Well, it's long enough to get serious, deep work done, but short enough that your brain knows a reward is coming soon, which systematically prevents the cognitive burnout we discussed earlier. Do that 4 times, then take a longer 15 to 30-minute break.
And to stop that insidious digital clutter from creeping back in and stealing your RAM, you have to adopt a ruthless mindset, the OHIO rule. It stands for only handle it once. When you open an email or a digital file, you decide right then and there to either delete it, file it, or act on it. Never ever leave it lingering for later. Leaving open tasks heavily taxes your working memory because your brain has to constantly remind itself to go back and finish the job.
Okay, let's bring it home with Section 4, the ultimate productivity stack.
Let's see how all of these isolated habits become a true superpower when you combine them into a daily system. There was this fascinating Reddit post that detailed a user seamlessly stacking these exact methods. First, they drop all their lingering thoughts into a task manager to completely free up their brain's RAM. At night, they assign Eisenhower priorities from P1 to P4. Then, they time block the next day's schedule, and they always eat the frog first. Eating the frog means tackling your absolute hardest, most dread-inducing task in the very first block of the morning, right when your cognitive RAM is at its peak. Finally, they use Pomodoro timers within those blocks to maintain absolute, unyielding focus. It's brilliant.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want this profound finding from a Princeton University functional MRI study to resonate with you. Professor Sabine Castor literally proved that a cluttered desk genuinely makes a mind too full. Even when you try your absolute hardest to ignore a messy background, your brain still processes the chaos. It takes measurable, metabolic energy directly away from your frontal cortex. It proves that willpower alone is simply not enough. You must change your environment.
So I'm going to leave you with a challenge. Look at your desk, or even your computer desktop, right now. Ask yourself, are you treating all tasks as urgent and letting cortisol completely poison your focus? What is one specific piece of physical or digital clutter you can completely eliminate tonight, so you can wake up tomorrow morning, clean your space, prioritize your tasks, and finally reclaim your brain's RAM?